Awesome. Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome, welcome. FPV, thank you for the intro there. Um, how's it going, everybody? Welcome to Cat Eyes. Tonight we're gonna do the research, and tonight we have FPV, we have Cats, myself, One Conscience, and Jimbo. Um, anyhow, welcome. What's good, everybody?
Hey, Cal, say Trotter.
Hey, hi everyone. Everyone, thanks for joining us again one more time with the research team. Taking your time as well, like always, and supporting the research team. So, enjoy what they're going to talk about.
Yep. Yeah, FPV. So who's up to bat first tonight? Who do we got?
I'll just say a few words, guys, then we'll hand it over to One. Yeah,
Alright.
this guys is a continuation of the research we've been doing into Earth's blueprints and everything that's popped up since then. And tonight's is going to be some work done by One Conscience and Jimbo, so I'll be taking a back seat and just supporting these two fine people. So over to you, One.
Hello, everybody. Okay, so tonight we're going to talk about some Earth energies. Can you play that video?
Yeah, sorry for the delay. It's loading slow for some reason. It's coming, don't worry.
All right, so tonight we'll talk about Earth energies and chakras of the Earth a little bit. These are points where energy spirals out like rivers. The chakra points magnify the energy correlated to our body's chakras. If you were to immerse yourself in these energy fields, you find your own magnetism aligning with their frequencies. So if these can affect us, can't other frequencies affect us, such as CERN? CERN emanates a great amount of energy from colliding the particles. They are creating and releasing energy into the Earth. All of this energy is connected to our Earth energy grid that spans across our world. So what is the grid, you may wonder? Well, it's part of the 12 by 12, or the Sun Star of Peru, which is the Creator's foundation of sacred geometry that we call our home. The 8 by 8 that lies inside of the 12 by 12 is the Nazca Mandala. So what is it and why is it important? We realize that these are the plates of our world. They receive the signals sent by the angel technology and transfer the energy to the designated area. As this happens, the earth trembles and shakes. Some examples of the signals are our sun movement, our moon movement, winds, tides, and other things, all of the natural earth events. The underworld of the earth is a designed circuit board. The volcanoes that are showing now are currently erupting volcanoes. If you see, some of them have numbers, and that's because there's actually that many volcanoes in that area erupting. I didn't want to put such as 27 volcanoes on the map and 24 in another area. Also, I noticed where there's several erupting like that actually holds some of our Earth chakra points. The volcanoes serve as the heating system through the center of the Earth, or the line of fire. Between the tropics and very heavily close to the equator, it is littered with underwater and land volcanoes that contain lava that run about 2,000 degrees Fahrenheit. It also heats up the water about 150 degrees with each explosion. They are the creators of land masses as well as the destroyers, and they maintain things such as the center warmth of our waters and winds. It's all very interesting to me to learn and very fun. So the next thing I kind of want to share are some maps that I've made of our planets and how we're trying to fit those into this technological masterpiece. So the theory I'm hoping to soon be able to share is which planets, if any, affect the things like megaquakes. Two gas giants, it's theorized, can cause quakes of large magnitude when in opposition to each other. So the example I have of that are in the eastern part of our world, in the Pacific, it has been actually getting hit pretty bad with large quakes. And two of these maps are March 3rd and March 5th, where you can see Uranus and Neptune are lined up vertically, and they're actually sandwiched between, I'm sorry, the hit area is sandwiched between the two on the eastern side. Uranus is on the northeast and Neptune is on the southeast, and the area in between has been being hit. So I'm not going to speculate a whole lot, but that's the example I have to show that the planets may be affecting these events on Earth. So in a way, it's a little peek at things that we're working on. And I really don't have anything else to talk about.
Of course you do, one. Why don't you tell them what you notice? So when you start putting these planets on here, tell them what you notice straight away.
Well, what we're noticing is, look where they're all sitting. And what I went to is Planets Today, and there's actually a geocentric model that you can click. And we all know that's where the Earth is the center and all the planets revolve around it. So I just took them as it was and laid them out on this grid, and look where they all sit. They're all laying on the lines of halos. It's very, very interesting. So we've put the planets inside of our 12 by 12 grid, and they'll rotate around and do what they do, which I'll be able to show that at a later date. And they're affecting our Earth as they go.
So if you haven't figured out, guys, what one's done is put a whole universe within the 12 by 12 confines of this grid. Hope you can see the importance of that and exactly where they line up in halos.
Yeah,
That's
and I have,
and how they affect.
It's fantastic work. Well done.
Yeah, well done. And what it might do with these chakras and how they have different frequencies and how they're triggering different things as they go across the plane. You know, there's all these functions that they have.
Yeah, and I don't know a lot about astrology. I never really researched it a whole lot, but I put the zodiac in there and the planets, and we'll move them along as they move. And it'll just take time to gather all the data, but then we'll compare it. We'll compare it to our Earth and what's happening on Earth and the events, such as these deep quakes that hit around the Indonesia area, right around, all those little islands over there. So, and we'll see if it affects it. You know, like I read about it, how Uranus and Neptune can affect these happenings. And then we look now and, you know, one's on the northeast, one's on the southeast, and the area that's been hit is in between those two. So it's interesting.
Yeah,
it's going
back to what you said about the two gas giants being opposite of them.
Mm-hmm.
Was there a correlation with some of the earthquake data when that happened? Can you?
Yeah, that
happened.
happened.
See the interconnection between that?
Mm-hmm. I think it was Uranus and Neptune. I think I'd have to go back and relook, but that were in opposition when the megaquake hit Japan. And so when I read that, I thought it was pretty interesting because I had been thinking it, and I just didn't know how to go with it because I'm not a big astrology person and I don't study that stuff. But now I'm going to start. So.
Yeah. That's awesome.
Yeah. So yeah, it has been, you know, tracked that possibly caused that Japan megaquake, and now here we sit again with those two, which are referred to as gas giants by science, are again on opposite sides of the the grid here with the area in between them
Mm-hmm.
that's being hit again with very large quakes.
Some sort of like polarity effect or something of energy.
Yeah, or
Something's
signal,
happening there.
something.
Yeah.
I mean, I always thought like when they move around and they hit certain spots that they would trigger, you know, a signal that would cause something to happen. You know, we don't know how many times it's happened, but
James, do you have anything to add to that? What's your take on
Not
that?
really. I'm still learning from a lot
Okay.
of this stuff and just trying to put pieces together. It's amazing. I sort of think that somehow if we do see them constantly, the stars above and stuff, and planets, they may be some type of switching up there, or you know, inductors as they move over certain spots above the ground, they trigger switches. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, that's what it seems. That's what seems to be happening. But only time will tell. You got to collect more data and build on that. Basically, again, you guys, this research is very at the infant or the embryo stages of its process. So, yeah, little by little, you know. But yeah, no, thank you, James. And FPV, what about yourself? What's your take on some of these things right now?
Wow, what can I say, guys? Fantastic revelations being revealed all the time within this research. You know, Jimbo's revealing it, one's revealing it. I've shown you some things myself. Yeah, it's kind of mind blowing, really is. You know, it took one aback, and it's done the same to me. I kind of stopped doing what I was doing to look at what one was doing now.
Yeah,
thought, wow, look at this.
Trying to catch up to this, basically, you know, in a lot of ways. So,
one went from earthquakes and volcanoes and just shot right up to the sky now, isn't she? She's up in the luminaries. Trying to figure out that now. But no, good stuff. All in all,
it is fantastic
for your work.
Yeah.
So
what I've done is I've kind of moved back from what I was doing, and I'm now kind of supporting one in what she's doing here, because this is important information. And look at the correlation, guys, amazing. So I'm going to help one visualize this into a 3D kind of model for her. And, you know, when she does the next presentation, it'll be ready for then. You'll have to, what one's going to do is carry on doing it like this. So you'll see updates like this, and you'll see them slowly move around the various halos. And after that, we can add a 3D model. You can visualize it in the 3D environment. That's the plan at the moment. Yeah, it's very important, and it's well worth doing. Yeah. So
you 3D model over.
Yeah, well, you know, I don't mind. I'll support anyone. I'll support these two guys. They're doing fantastic work in this. So, you know, I don't mind jumping back in here and there to help out. And
it's a good cohesive group. I like it.
Need help.
Yeah, you guys are great.
Flexibility.
Yeah, when you do that, we'll be able to see the correlation. You can see it on the grid. You'll be able to see the PowerPoints, the halos. We'll get a better understanding on how there's this connection there, or if there isn't a connection there. But we'll see. Exactly. Moving forward into this discussion or presentation, who's coming up next? Or are we done with one? Are we moving forward? Or we're gonna?
Well, hold on. Any questions in chat for one's work, guys? Any of you guys in chat want to comment on what one's just been talking about?
Red Squirrel asked, well, they said the center point of this map is where you see the jet stream being controlled going from north or south. Do you want to answer that, FPV?
He's asking if it's there, or telling us it's there. I wasn't sure.
Oh, it was kind of a statement, but asking if it was going from north or south. It says the center point of this map is where you see the jet stream being controlled from going north or south. I'm not sure.
I think he means it's what's pinching the jet stream in the middle between the north and the south over the equator. I think.
Yeah, it looks like a statement, not a question. Some of this map is where you see this jet stream being controlled from going north or south. Very possible, yeah.
It is being kept over the equator area. It can move
when you look
down
at the
a little bit, but it's usually there.
When you look at the portals or gates, and whatever you want to call them, guys, the north, south, east, west, you know, the east, west seems to be controlling sun and moon movement. The north and south must be controlling, the effects. It's pulling, some kind of a pull up and down perhaps over the course of the year, helping with the seasons.
And we do
And
see
that's also going to affect winds,
huge warps in the jet stream where it makes big horseshoes and stuff, or hemispheres and stuff. That's probably they're just going around the magnetic field of a plate. In the last few days, we've had storms coming off the East Coast. For me now, that means that the plate off the Atlantic coast, the one that runs from, northern Quebec all the way down to, the Bahamas or Bermuda, is active. It's turned on. It's giving us the easterlies, all that wet and all that snow. Allows the electricity to go out for over 1 million people on the eastern seaboard. It's got the same shape as Hurricane Sandy had, a big comma shape. And now here it is a few years later, and there's a big storm, and it's got that same comma shape at the same place. It's not a coincidence.
Nope. No, it's quite predictable, I would say.
These plates are controlling the weather and the tides, not the moon necessarily directly. There's one moon. There's millions of square miles of water. Can't be controlling all of them uniformly. It's the metal plates, the magnetism, the diamagnetic properties of the water. That's the tides.
And possibly the angel technology and halos playing a part as the grid, the various plates coming online and switching on and off, going across the world.
Yeah.
Like we've discussed before, a whole tectonic plate coming online. You can see the plates there, the central plates, let's call them, on the 8x8. If they're coming online and switching on, switching off as the sun moves across them.
I didn't mention it yet.
And also the moon, so yeah.
But I found a nice resource that gives the lay of these plates with very vertical and horizontal lines. No ambiguity, no fuss, no muss, which is kind of nice. That means I can find corners and other stuff, locations, and lay out the actual grid and what's above it at corners and intersections and stuff. It's pretty good. Painstaking, but doable. I got to check through a lot of information to get that done. Oh boy. But anyway, it's how you do it. It's a little bit at a time and just keep at it, Things will reveal themselves. They don't if you don't keep at it, So me, I'm stuck on those plates. There's another one, like as we mentioned, that one found in Oak Island in Nova Scotia. Sorry. There's more. There's so many more. So, as they're found and mapped a bit, we get a better idea of our actual, flat Earth map on a grid, 12 by 12, and not a pizza pie plate covered by a dome. See, that's one thing that all these different theories always seem to want to do is limit people. The ball limits us to looking up for somewhere else to go. The pizza pie with a dome and an ice ring around it. Guess what? You're still a prisoner with that concept.
Mm-hmm.
So why is it being pushed? The pizza pie,
Well, it's the UN flag. So what does that tell you about that whole model? Who is it being presented by and who brought it?
And where's the proof of it?
and where's the data backing it up? We can't go on Captain James Cook. We can't go on his word.
Well, if that was the real map, why do they use the Mercator map? Every data recording currently is using the Mercator map. So why is the AE map even exist?
Well, it's always been a call of the oligarchy and the ultimate, clan leaders that control psyche, if you will, the beliefs of the world in this system of things. You know, it's been families and oligarchies that have pushed this for a long time now. Cults. It is a cult belief. It's run like a cult.
Definitely.
Down like a cult.
Yep. That's exactly what's going on here. It's all about deception. So, you know, we've all been taught about the ball model and whatnot, and everything that you guys are finding. Thanks a lot for that, by the way. I know the community, we applaud you for the research you've been putting in. Well, but, you know, going back to the AE map, like we don't have anything that's backing it up still. We just have.
We don't actually.
We have 1 360 camera.
The fact that we know water is level, we know so many things now that, you know, it's debating, you know, flat Earth. It's a non sequitur. It's a futile, and there's no use in trying to argue with someone who don't want to know. It's just an act in futility, you know. So our job here isn't to fight with people who aren't really open to any other ideas or possibilities, or, you know, whether it's the truth or not, at least it's a representation of different ideas, you know, right or wrong. If you're not even open to that, or like for science, if science is closed, it's not science anymore, you know, because science is about theories. And if you challenge a theory and something doesn't add up, then you throw away that theory and you find something else, right? But that's no longer what's happening in this world. The cult of scientism, which has found its way to indoctrinate even, you know, belief in God with gravity and their fake science. Mm-hmm. Because you'll have, you know, pastors talking about the freaking moon landings and stuff like they were real and stuff. They're promoting the lie. They're part of it. Yep. You know, I don't care if it's a Catholic church or Presbyterians or just these people trained as pastors and whatever you call them, their chaplains or whatever. They're all singing the same lie. It's a blended lie, but it's still a lie. Now, again, one of the things they've done, and it's real important to understand, is they've taught you not to even believe your own eyes. And hopefully the next part of, well, what I'm going to present here is the giants. Well, I am not going to tell you what you see. I'll let you decide for yourself what you're seeing. But, you know, once you figure out what you're seeing, we can talk about it a bit and, you know, share it with the people out there watching the chat right now and stuff. And, you know, it's a choice of whether you want to believe your own eyes and what you see and right in front of you, or whether you really prefer to say, oh, that's erosion. Oh, that's weathering. Oh, that's everything but what it is. Because, you know, again, I'll show you a bunch of pictures of some giants and stuff, but they're rocks. So you have to decide, is that really what you think you're seeing? Or is it just erosion of a bunch of like sedimentary rock, granite, or this or that? So we've been trained, most people have been trained not to even trust their own eyes, you know, and it's almost a built-in denial, and it's to support a system of lies. Yep. I don't know if I can start now. What
don't trust your own senses. They don't want you to use your own senses.
Now, I'm not going to tell you.
Hold on, Jim, just before you do, can I just tell people what this animation is here?
Sure.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, this is what one's animation will look like as she plots it. You know, ignore the direction of the planets there. I just threw that there to show you them moving. But when one's plotting what she's doing in the 2D model, it's going to do something similar to this. You know, you're going to see them moving around, and you know, we'll start getting correlation of world events depending on where they're located. Hopefully, so that's just to show you what that animation was there. It's one's will look a lot nicer than that. I just put that there to show you what one's is going to look like when they start moving a lot. So right, back to you, Jim.
That looks so awesome. Okay, let me share screen. Wrong button for share screen. Over here. Okay, so I should be sharing a hopefully I'm not sharing the Earl. Okay. Am I good? Oops. Hello?
Yeah, looking good, Jim. Yeah.
Okay. Couldn't find my... Here we are. Okay.
Image
So,
could be a bit larger if you can zoom in.
yeah, sometimes it blurs it if I go too large on something. Not all of them are, but
Yeah, that's good.
the first image. Now, you know, it probably doesn't take a lot of imagination to guess at, you know, what you might be looking at here. Now, I don't know if anybody sees any type of figure or creature in this stone.
If you want us to shout out, yes.
I do.
Definitely.
Yes, please
I do.
shout out. Yeah,
Elephant.
Yes.
see,
Yeah.
absolutely a nice,
Elephant.
beautiful, big elephant too. There's the eye right there. You can see my mouse, eh? That's no accident. The trunk comes down. There's even the right angle curve to the end of the trunk here. There's a little thing comes down for his mouth, like his mouth was open and he was drinking or eating or whatever. And there's a leg. Now, you can tell yourself you're dreaming. That's just erosion. That's a natural rock formation. Or, you know, maybe not. You know, the details in this statue, okay, we can't see it. We don't have a good enough resolution. But within these toes here, these fingers, you can see the bone, the skin layers, the marrow, different colors in this petrified rock. Okay, so that one we don't have to guess what it is. That's up in the Caucasus and north of Russia. This, again, is part of a giant. It's supposed to be a sculpture, whatever. But you get the detail in the fingernails and stuff. Just there's something that says, well, that's more than just a sculpture. But these things are underwater. They're supposed to be somebody's artwork or something. But millions of them are underwater. So there must have been millions of artists who decided to sculpt stuff and put them underwater. This is supposed to be sculpture again. Just the detail. You can see the corrosion looks like cells and stuff. Not necessarily like it was solid rock. But we'll keep on going because there are others that are guessable. Again, the detail in this little statue, we'll get to some that aren't, you know. But anyway, a close-up I'll try to get, and there are bones in there. You can see the bones from the foot in there. There's no sculptor that would ever be able to do that kind of detail. Start a structure by making bones and applying meat to it, tendons, and then the skin on top. There's so many of these so-called sculptures. This is in Italy in the Garden of the Monsters. Now, it's supposed to be a park or a place that a guy bought, and then he sculpted all this stuff in his lifetime. But literally, there are hundreds of these in that park, and there's no way a single human being could have sculpted those hundreds and hundreds of pieces of work. But they're more than pieces of work. They're petrified fossils of the people and the things that were around at that flood. This, now, you know, way back when, apparently artists were able to build scaffolds and stuff and go out and make their own Mount Rushmores. I mean, it's not too likely. It's more likely this is a petrified giant. But we move on. Well, again, there are bones in here. You can see a bone, you can, anyway, marrow. This is actually a petrified person. This, again, you know, the corrosion and the different colors, it wasn't a single stone. It's petrified, whatever it is, and it was alive. There's more what's supposed to be art, and some of it is art. Muddies the water a bit. I can't take the time and haven't taken the time to try to figure out what's what. But this is another elephant. This isn't art, but this is some kind of elephant head, a trunk, and more or less a seated position. This again is like an aerial view of two little islands off the Gaspé. And again, these look like severed heads, or a severed head was here before. And it's petrified living creature, big living creature. This again is the Indian or the native, the Badlands Guardian. And again, this is supposed to be a natural rock formation. This head, what looks like a head, is a mile across. And below it has, well, the rest of the features that a full body would need, which includes knees and foot and hand and arm and wrist. So this is from, again, one of the two sites that do mud fossils and stuff. But this glazed looking stuff is part of like a pharaoh or an Egyptian mummy. And it's got some erosion over here. There should be a photo next of that erosion. Now, this is supposed to be like just not a mummy, but a stone carving of some kind that was placed ornamentally around Egypt. But this is the side view. If you look real carefully, you can see a rib bone here, another rib bone here, another rib bone here. You can see the lung tissue here. That's lung. You can see the liver down in here. You can see the kidney, different color here. But this is a whole set of rib cage on that. This is his head here. This is his shoulder and arm, his chest coming down here. And that's the exposed ribs here. So, you know, you can tell yourself you're dreaming. You can tell yourself, well, the artist was really skillful because he put lungs, he put bones, and he put marrow. And they all, you know, petrified perfectly or set perfectly. That's why he looks so real. I'm not sure, but he does look glazed on the outside. What is going on? He does look very glazed on the outside. Get out of my way. He looks glazed on the outside, like fire polished almost. So, and it is in the desert, so he may have been like Medusa or something, you know. Medusa, the legend is, if you looked at her, you'd wind up with turning into a pillar of salt or something. This I took off, I guess, Google Earth because it looked like a face. That looks like hair, eyes here, nose, and a mouth. I kind of thought it looked like the Mad Magazine guy, so I cropped it. Now, anyone figure out what these are?
Footprints.
It sure do
That's what it
look
looks
like
like to
them,
me.
eh?
Yeah.
That's a pretty big foot. But again, you know, there's even, if you do topographic stuff there are even places where you can see the dirt has been raised and compressed even a few 100 feet from the impact point when it was muddy and slushy. That's not an accident either. Any guess on this one? It's my grandpa's.
Same again.
Yep.
Same again. That's my granddaddy. This may be rated XXX. No guesses?
Nope.
It's a beaver. Can you see the eye here? The little arm coming down? Little arm, nose, head here. Little ear here.
Yeah.
Its back. So that's a little beaver. They even cordoned it off because they know it's a fossil. People are taking chips. Any guesses?
That looks like someone lying face down to me.
And half embedded, right?
Yeah.
There's a head, the shoulder. This may be a hand and part of the arm. There's his eye, and his head is half immersed. His arm is half immersed. See, I mean, it could be a natural rock formation, like all the others. But the likelihood goes down with the frequency of the, oddity, if you will.
Well, the anatomy.
It no longer becomes a coincidence. This one's a little harder to see.
That's easy to see.
Yeah, good. It's getting easier. But here's the head, shoulder, coming down, buttocks, arm, leg, feet, back up the other side, chest. But that's a giant laying down, petrified where he laid. Mick Jagger. That's pretty blurry, but
pretty obvious.
That is a head, yeah. Again, weathering. That weathers a nose and lips, eyes and forehead and rounded head. Now, this looks like a Photoshop job or something, but it's not. That statue is actually under the water there. This is a Photoshop, half above and half under the water. And this giant lips, nose. This wasn't a statue. Another one. See in the background here? Big statue, big head, shoulder, hips. That's a giant laying down. There's where we have to go censored. But any guesses?
But no, I just can't think of it. No.
Okay, we'll wait for a chuckle or two, for the giggles to subside and get serious again. Now, what does this say? When we saw the huge magnetic anomaly or extreme anomaly? I don't know if I even read this one. Anyway, I don't know what I saved that for, but I'll figure it out later. Here's another one. That's a different head, but here again you can see definite forehead, nose, lips to the chin, eye socket, kind of down to shoulders here. It's another hill, another, again, face, eye orbit, nose, mouth area, coming down to a shoulder. This one will wait a little more.
Yeah, lying down, face up, see the nose, mouth, eye, chest.
Yeah. Nose here, lips, very defined, chin. Going to probably maybe a shoulder, maybe the head is twisted up or something. Because it doesn't look normal for like a breast on a chest, but this could be a shoulder with the head twisted, facing up. It's hard to say some of them.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Here you have an eye slit, again a nose, lips, chin, going down to a throat. You can almost swear that was a windpipe or part of the nasal cavity and sinuses, but probably not. Who knows? But anyway, that's very face-like what's in there. Adam's apple even sticking out here.
That's actually a very good find when you consider the photo sideways on to catch it.
Yes. Oh,
very good.
Artists see these things often, because I've missed them all my life, honestly. I mean, if it was different, I'd tell you different, but it's new to me. But there's your eyeball, place where the nasal cavity was, teeth. Some are big, and we're getting to small ones too.
That one kind of looked like the Sphinx, the one you just showed. It reminded me of it.
This one here, a little bit, because of the short nose. Because there could have been giants with shorter noses, and you're right. It does have the right form for a Sphinx head, more so than a lot of the others. That's a nice one. This one gets... The guy had a big schnoz. But again, you have the forehead here coming down, eye, nose, lips, chin, and a neck. Just, it's what it looks like now. Any
Oh,
guesses?
still wearing the headscarf as well.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's,
there's a
wearing
bit
it
of a.
here, we're coming to
That
more,
looks
though.
like a foot, doesn't it?
Basically, and there looks like another one here, like
Where's that one at, Jimbo?
probably Colorado. I don't know the locations of some of these. I'm gonna try to pinpoint them. Google Earth will actually eliminate some of them and just put bare desert and not even show you these things. They are just that bad about it.
You know what that one reminds me of? If you've ever seen the movie Clash of the Titans or
Yeah,
and the big Zeus statue that they cut down and
really,
his
eh?
feet are left. Yeah.
But I believe those were feet, but I don't know. Here's another one. It's again face up. There's the forehead. There's an eye. There's nose, nasal cavity, lips, where the jaw and teeth would be. Just looks like another head. Here's one a little harder to see, but it's a smaller head too, but you can see the forehead, the eye, the nose, coming down to the lips and mouth. If you chipped at that, you'd probably see where the teeth were. This one's a bit tough, but the artist in this one mirrored over here. There's a head, there's an arm, there's a lady sitting there facing her right there. But that's, I think, why that photo was taken. It's a tough one to see in that one, but I don't know if you all see it, but
Yeah, I can make something out there. Yeah.
I need a better shot of it, but again, this one should speak for itself almost, eh? And
What's
you
it
can't,
say on it? Does it say
says,
CERN on his
this,
face?
yeah, this is his eye, this nose, jaw, mouth, going down to his chin. There's another one, is this erosion on all of these that give them these human faces? I can't accept that. Maybe got another forehead, eye, nose with a run to the bridge. Right, perfect lips, you know. This is in a wall face somewhere. You can see a breastplate almost here. Your neck, your chin, your face, and he's wearing a helmet of some kind. But you have his eye, where his nose was, his teeth, and he is wearing headgear. Because rocks don't erode uniformly like that. It's impossible for it to be like a natural erosion. I don't know. But, for me, except he's got some snow, you got your forehead, your nose, your eye, and again your mouth. Look how big this is. This head is at the top of a mountain already. Yikes. This side of the road shot, a little hard to make out, but here's the forehead, there's the nose coming down to the lips, to the chin. I don't know where that one is either. Any guesses?
Turtle. Yeah. Looks like a turtle.
Petrified turtle. We get to some good ones. Any guesses? Planet of the Apes, monkey head, eyes, nose, lips, but an elongated face, lower forehead and skull, a low brow. This was a monkey, a primate of some kind. My guess, you know. Call on this one. Any guesses?
Snake or a lizard?
Kermit? Froggy head?
Frog.
Froggy
Oh,
back?
okay, I see it. Yes, now I see the frog.
This one,
Amazing, this.
now,
Unbelievable.
how is that erosion? How could you erode a crocodile head?
Amazing,
And this,
isn't
like,
it, this?
it's over 6 foot tall head. Now, it's so hard for me to believe that that's not a petrified crocodile. I have to believe what my eyes are seeing and saying. That wasn't extruded from a volcano. That wasn't eroded in that shape and configuration by tides and waters. That's a creature that was petrified right where you see it. Those are teeth. Every one of them. Row of teeth on the bottom, jaws. That is a gator head, and it's petrified, and it's huge. This is a ski hill. Note the nice rows of trees and stuff. But again, you have the sloping forehead, an eye line, the nose coming down to lips and a mouth, down
Yeah, it's
to
pretty wild.
a chin, which is a gap.
Have you heard of Jay Dreamers?
This one is censored again, but any guesses?
Oh, I can't. It's too small on my screen. I can't tell.
Oh,
No idea.
no, well, down here and going up, it's a nipple. It's a petrified nipple.
I was afraid you were going to say that, but okay.
Okay, well, it looks like a nipple.
Could be a
My
false
book?
breast, couldn't it? A false giant breast.
Yeah, rubber breast, yeah. Hey, here's one in the deserts there. Again, this one is just the nose, lips, chin. That's another giant down there, another titan down. This one, Lord knows where it is. I've been through woods that have rocks like this sticking out, but I never looked, properly. I'm sure I've ran into this stuff, but again, the head shape, the nose, the eyes, coming down to a mouth, down to a chin. Any guesses?
Wow, you got a dragon there.
Would seem so. I mean, or it's erosion and weathering. But it's not erosion and weathering. Now this one. There's something interesting about this one too. This again, without, this is a foot.
Yes,
See
got
these
so
three
sole of the foot. Yeah.
The guardian of the Badlands has holes on his foot at the same location. That means it's something like, I don't know, cartilage or something. We probably have it in our anatomy too. But these 3 spots are missing or different on the statue, the guardian of the Badlands. Because I look carefully at his foot and I noticed that same spot on his foot, you have the same issue, which is not a coincidence. It's anatomy.
It could be the cause of death, something that they'd...
Any guesses?
Yeah, it looks like a dog, that.
It sure does look like a beagle, in fact, with the shape of the nose and the head. It looks like a beagle or, a very specific breed of dog. Lord knows how big it is. I don't know what to compare it to. It's not that big if that's all grass and weeds behind it. So it could have been a normal-sized dog that was petrified. Here's another stretch of road. So I guess unless you lay down on the side of the road, you're not going to see some of the faces.
Yeah, you have to drive around now with your head on your shoulder to get a better look.
You can actually see his eyebrow in this one. That's his socket down below. He had a huge nose. His mouth. Looks like been banged up a bit, so he may have actually got a hit in the face. Again, it's not a full shot, but there's a chin going up to lips, going to whatever. I don't know if this is a real horse in the mud. I think it is. But on the top photo, it might be too small for some to see. But again, this looks like a horse head and his body, and he was drinking water or something, had his head down when he was petrified. Censored. Any guesses? Probably the world's biggest boobs.
James. What's next? I'm joking. That's all good.
This again, normal erosion, or was that a creature petrified? Again, at the front end, it certainly looks like some kind of dragon head.
Yeah,
This
it
looks
does, doesn't it?
certainly stratified in a way that could be, you know, petrified.
Yeah, going back to
animal.
Mud Fossils University, he's presented a lot of stuff that's, I mean, it's compelling, man. You know,
Oh yeah.
it is. It's interesting. I've always been intrigued by it.
It's I think when it's green like this, it's high copper or whatever. But this is definitely nose, eyes, other stuff. And for whatever reason, there may have been more copper sulfate and other copper sources around. This petrified with more copper.
Hey, I have a question for you.
Fire away.
Life of Brian would like to know, have you heard of the Sleeping Giant National Park in Thunder Bay?
No, I haven't. No. I'm
He
glad
says
there's one.
He said it's in your backyard because he's up there by you.
Yeah, it's almost towards the border with Manitoba. So for me, it's several hours drive from here. Literally several hours. At least 3 hours drive. Might be a bit more. Because Thunder Bay is really headed out west a long way from here. And once you get past Thunder Bay, you're heading into Manitoba through the mountains there. It's big backyard here. I know it well, but it's big. Yeah. But that'd be nice. We're surrounded by them in Gatineau, right across the bridge. They're giants. The city of Ottawa itself is built on a giant, a 65-mile high giant. Parts of Gatineau and Quebec are the same giant, all the way down to Perth, which is miles away, is the ankle of this one giant. The elbow is what a famous rock here called the Hog's Back. The arm of the river bends at the Hog's Back or just below it and heads west to Quado or Quado. That's where the hand is. So we're on a huge giant. You can't escape them. If you're walking on ground, you're walking on what was a titan or, angel wings that shrouded them. Something to that effect. There's none of what we're walking on that wasn't alive before. This thing, any calls?
Looks like another elephant to me.
Yeah, I got the trunk going and backbone, hip. You can almost see the backbone plate here, the hip bone and stuff. This was one ugly dude, man. I don't know. That was ugly. Needs no description.
That was one of the fallen angels, I bet.
Probably. Apparently they were pretty ugly. Some of them, you can tell they're ugly. They're the trolls and other things. I think what gets God's irk, myself, okay, my own belief, is abominations. When you take his design, what he designed in his likeness, which is man, and start making half bestial things and other stuff, that's when he pulls the plug. I guess a lot of other stuff is tolerated, but he don't want to see like half human and half goat and half human, and you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, like that kind of that gene splicing and genetic manipulation and just like
that would be, I mean, I don't know.
The Montauk monster and stuff like that, those kind of experiments you've heard of.
When you go that far and you're actually, like I say, I believe we were made in his likeness. He made us in his likeness. If you try to make aberrations from that, oh well, that's just more disrespect than, should be tolerated probably. But anyway, any calls on this one? Again, it's surrounded by water.
I think it looks like the Loch Ness Monster.
Yeah, kind of dolphin-like, the lower tail back here, coming up to a dorsal fin, down the front to, well, the head area and a little pectoral. Possibly not. This one's a little more
profound.
Yeah. Now, why should an island erode to look like a dolphin? There's no reason for it.
Yeah, that's a dolphin.
Dolphin Island. This one, we probably know what that kind of looking creature is.
It looks like a snake, doesn't it?
It looks like a giant spitting cobra. Look at the guy at the feet of it. He's 5 feet 5, 6 foot. And that's just, probably the top fifth of the snake. So that snake was probably over 200 feet long. It could probably eat 100 of us in a day. Here's another one. It's small and it's grainy, but this is a sleeping titaness. There's her head, her forehead, her nose, her lips, her chin, going down to her throat, her upper tummy area, going down to her belly button way over here, and her toes.
That looks like another person's head lying on her chest.
Yeah, I think though those are the right size to be her chest. We are talking about a giant there. I really think those are actually her chest. It could be someone else laying on her, but
hard to say.
There wouldn't be much room. I'm just joking. Okay, this like erosion, 2 fangs, a nose, eye, little cat head, little cat ears, shoulders and chest of a cat coming down to paws. That's some type of petrified cat. I don't know. It's not natural.
That's all it could be. Look at it.
Yeah.
This is so sweet. It's looked like they knew something was happening. This looks like 2 people having a kiss goodbye. It really, really does. I think it's one of the more beautiful pictures that I found doing this. But it really does look like 2 faces and a couple that, saying their last farewell. That might be reading too much into it, but maybe not. I think a lot of these people and creatures knew what was coming. I don't know.
Yeah, it looks quite sudden, whatever it was that caused it.
Yeah. Here again, we have a statue that shows bone. So obviously the sculptor did a bony structure first, applied a meaty structure to it, then a skin, and then fired it all, I guess. But no, if this were modeled plaster, this would be uniform in here. And there'd be wire mesh, there'd be other stuff. But no, instead we have a hollow where the bone marrow should be, bony matter, you got it all. That was a living person who became petrified and lost an arm. These, again, they could be someone's art sculptures and stuff, but I don't think so. I really don't. I think this was a...
that's why I mentioned Jay Dreamers before, because he gets into elves and stuff, if you've ever seen some of his work. And
I
pretty
think
intriguing.
I have in the last couple of weeks, yeah.
Yeah, he's got some good stuff. Shout out to Jay Dreamers.
Yeah, shout out to all these people, because I owe them. I'm using all their stuff and not giving them credit, and God bless them all for this great stuff, because keep it up, because here, I don't know, you can see arteries and veins and stuff and just tendons pulling. Artists can't do that, and different tones and colors. They represent different tones because they really were like veins just under the skin. If that was a sculpture, it'd all be uniform. It'd all be flush. Poured plaster, whatever. See, I don't know if this is modern artwork or stuff, but it seems like a lot of junk to put underwater, man. I don't know. Like I say, there are millions of these statues underwater. What's the point if no one can see them? Who dreamed up that idea? You know, put all this work and dump it in the ocean. It just don't make sense. That was something hidden in the tree. There's, I think we've seen that one. This, I don't know if it shouldn't be carved, but that's a fish of some kind. Petrified. It could be a garden statue, but it's granite, and I really think that was petrified. These, they all have different faces, the terracotta army. I don't think they were pottery that was made for Japanese or Chinese emperor or anything like that. These were the real army. They got petrified. Again, the detail is just insane.
Was that rope there tied together? That was petrified with them.
It looked like this guy almost looks like he's right out of Mortal Kombat. What artist would do this?
Yeah, he does.
What artist would do that? None.
James, can you zoom on that one? Like, can you bring it in, enlarge it?
You can even see his teeth behind the lips in this kid. You know, it's pretty amazing. But there's my mind can't wrap around why you'd make millions of statues and dump them under the water. Besides, under the water, eventually they'd corrode. A lot of these aren't suffering the corrosion. A lot of things would in salt water and seawater. They could be in fresh water, a lot of them. I don't know.
Yeah, I was thinking it may be in freshwater, but it's like an art installation at the bottom of a freshwater lake or something, or a sea.
Mm-hmm.
It just doesn't add up.
And this guy, the detail and the beard and mustache, the veins and stuff, the discolorations.
I think this is Colossal, right?
Yeah.
Colossal, I think the name was.
Colossus?
Colossus, thank you. Sorry. That's an X-Men. Wait, that's an X-Men character also, isn't it?
Yeah. Like these two.
Sorry.
I mean, this isn't the same park where this guy was supposed to have done in his lifetime like 10,000 sculptures like this. So I don't believe that he didn't. So they were there when he got there, and they gave him credit for it just to pass him off or whatever. But this one is too small, but this one you can see bones. These ones are off of, I don't know what they call it. They're some crazy thing. Now, this is a stone in a river. Any callers?
No, that's a fish of some kind.
It's a petrified big old trout of some kind.
Trout or bass. Look at his face.
It's a trout. It's a bass. Yeah. It's a fish. I mean, there's no mistaking it. You can kid yourself and say it's nature again. It's natural erosion. It's this and that. I bet you, though, if we excavated it and dug down, we'd find the rest of this fish. I bet any money. Be like at Easter Island when you dig down on those statues, you find the rest of the bodies. Same thing with this fish. I don't think that head is severed. I think if you dug down around it, you could pull up that whole fish. And this one, by texture, by anything.
The elephant view, isn't it?
I think it's another elephant, yeah. Manicure, pedicure. Now that could just be art form. That could be, but I think it's petrified giant foot and toe. But I don't know. Yep, I'm pretty sure it's petrified giant foot. This is man-made. I just added it for fun. Now this is weird. It's all natural, but it's certainly weird. All this is conglomerate rock. Looks like two eyes. a mouth, and a natural waterfall. I don't think someone built this. Another footprint. And they used to think, oh, it was molten granite when it wasn't granite, but it was all done in mud. When these footprints were made, it was boggy mud. It wasn't hot lava. Here again, just stone statue, quote, supposed to be a carving and stuff. Again, we can't get there, but within this, you have the bones, the marrow, the tendons, everything. That was alive. That was a real living, breathing entity. In all likelihood, some of them are statues. Like I say, I haven't been able to go through all of them to vet them, but amongst what's there, that's the same elephant as before, another angle. This guy, this is in the Park of the Monsters. Some guy petrified in the swamp, half exposed. Now it could be an art piece, but hell is that detailed for an art piece. All this stuff gives me like Dante's Inferno, a new view on it. But here you got like a giant horse laying down, because I don't know, that certainly looks like a horse head to me. Even running down the side from the ear, looks like that big vein that runs down the side of a horse down to its chest. So that looks like a giant horse. This one has the factor. But this looks like another horse. Or, erosion and weather has created this one too. That I don't know what the fork that is, but hope it's artwork, because if there's creatures like that in the ocean, I ain't going swimming no more. Here's another Buddha. Now again, we can't see, but the details and the fingers and everything, this was a real living entity at one time. And that was its throne area, I guess, in its little fiefdom, where it used to sit all the time. Part of its home, its area. These are probably man-made and just repeated mold, but I was just going through everything. Now again, this could be a man-made thing. It's in the Park of the Monsters again. Again, this guy, he made thousands of them in his lifetime, apparently, and this being one of them. Or it's a Titan woman, petrified. I don't believe the guy did all of these. There's just no way. This is an aerial view that part of an island in the north, but it sort of looks like, the skin around a shark head and stuff. This looks like a petrified tooth. These look like more teeth, but it basically looks like an x-ray of a shark from above. It's the blue of the water and all that gives it the effect, but this looks like it was a big shark's head or something. And it's huge. It's miles. If you look at the detail and the veins and stuff, the skin, just, it's not an artist who did that and put pumped up veins in this. This was a living person. It's petrified. Again, these are supposed to be done by artists and dumped in the water. I don't believe it for 2 minutes. This guy, we have a better view of him now, but it's supposed to be a sculpture. But, the tones, the meat groups, the muscle groups, the fact that, well, I don't know if we can see here, but where his arm is missing, you got that issue with the bones and the marrow again, You have like the black could be from, like they say, the blood. This is not a sculpture. This is someone who is petrified right on the rock there and will stay there until he erodes away. I don't know if that's man-made art, so we won't even bother with it. These guys too, they're very old statues, but were they carved by someone or are they actually petrified people? I don't know. The older ones, I figure petrified. This one, you know, the detail. This could be man-made again, you know, but I just don't know. That one suffered a lot of erosion, but still see a face. This, again, is supposed to be a sculpture. I don't buy it for a minute. Again, it's hard to tell. You don't have it good, but you have two bones here. Same two bones you'd have in a human arm in the lower portion. So you can twist. This is above the wrist. This isn't a sculpture. This is actually a petrified person. Look at the size of that seahorse. Whereas Crocodile Dundee would say, that's not a seahorse. This is a seahorse.
That's a beauty, that, isn't it?
Oh, it's so evident, eh? It can't be erosion. I don't think it's an artist who carved it into the rock. I don't know what lake this is, but it has a sleeper right on the shore. There's his chin, mouth, nose, eye, forehead running down, sloping back, his chest. So, too much coincidence. It seems like some type of Sphinx human under the water. Again, can't elaborate much on it. Now, these heads, and there are a lot of them, they're supposed to be carvings. I don't think so. I think they're petrified giants. He was even wearing headgear for battle, like a warrior would. But I have great doubt that, again, an artist convention for underwater, you know, art pieces there. Another location. The detail, toenail. What artist would make like slightly broken and, you know, diseased toenails? What artist would add, you know, like foot fungus to his work? Not too many. Here we got, looks like, again, close to human, but these are apes. You have the ape-like head, mouth, recessed nose, you know. This is a second one. It could have been a pair or a mate. Here you have what looks like a thumb, part of a hand. And I'm sure if you dug them out, you'd find the rest of their bodies. Here's another one stuck in a mountainside. Again, more of our great art and fine carvings and grand masters. But again, I say that these pieces aren't grand masters. They were people who were petrified. That's why they're so hauntingly lifelike. Or everybody and his dog could carve marble or anything just with great detail, and we don't know how to do it today. We don't have enough artists today to do it. We couldn't do it with one artist. We don't have one who can do it today. So, but this is again another sleeping giant. It's the petrified. It wasn't made by people pouring sand and cement. So it was a living creature. And back to the elephant. So I guess that just about wraps it up.
That's kind of left me speechless, Jim. I never realized there was that many around. Oh,
Yeah,
fantastic.
Stop
Yeah.
sharing. Oops.
There's like variation in sizes as far as the Titans. You know, there's various sizes. There's 20-footers. There's mile long. There's like, I don't know, man. It's pretty wild. That's all. You know,
I can't find the stop sharing button there. How do I stop sharing?
Roger from Mud
Yeah,
Fossil
it's stop there, Jim.
DNA proof for some of this stuff. So I haven't
Oh,
seen
yeah.
the DNA, but he claims that he has.
There you go. Got it.
Thank you.
But that was it. Go ahead.
I hope it was interesting.
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
Fantastic, Jim. You just opened my eyes, mate. I didn't realize there was that many around, and you cannot deny that.
It's
No.
hard to, and the more I look, the more I find the one lady, I forget what she calls, Discover. Oh, she lives near Titan Cave in England somewhere, and inside that Titan Cave, there's a face. You can see it's got a beard and everything, and it was eaten by that Titan. You're in the stomach of this Titan, and you're looking at his last meal, which was another giant. It's so weird. But yeah, there's nowhere we can go or walk that we're not walking on the remains of these titans and giants. There's nowhere, not a square inch.
It gives the term foothill a whole new meaning, doesn't it?
Yeah, they're I've measured toenails of some of these giants 1 mile across. That's the toenail. So they're all sizes. They really are. If you have islands that are made up of what were dolphins, and the island is like 6 miles long, that was a 6-mile dolphin. You know, way back when I got the picture of that plate on Greenland off of Google Earth, that same time I got the picture of that 1,000-foot long shrimp. You know, now I one of the problems I had understanding why there would be even 1,000-foot long shrimp was one of the reasons I sort of kept denying that it was actually what it was, because what the heck could eat 1,000-foot shrimp? I mean, shrimp aren't high on the food chain. They're a food themselves. In fact, they're kind of like an omnivore, and they eat anything. The charogne, they call it. They eat rotten dead flesh, whatever they call it. They're carrion. Okay, so they're not high on the food chain. So usually they're food. So if you have a 1,000-foot long shrimp, what's going to eat it? And I couldn't figure out what would eat 1,000-foot shrimp. So I had to basically say, well, there's nothing there to eat it, then it probably wasn't a shrimp. It probably is erosion. And again, you know, retort right back to the, you know, the very classic wrong school of thought, basically. You know, that shrimp, I held on to it because I couldn't totally dismiss it, you know, but I couldn't totally accept it because I didn't know what the hell could eat it. I mean, there has to be a purpose for something. If it's not practical, it's just not there. There's no point for it. So 1,000-foot long snack needs something to eat it. So I know for our size, if we eat a jumbo shrimp, it's yay big, 2 inches, you know, say 3-4 inches. Well, if that's a jumbo shrimp for us, that 1,000-foot long shrimp would be like a jumbo shrimp for a giant, by my estimations. So another way of putting potentially how big the life on this plane was for a while. It's big.
Hey, Jim, not to mention the size of the plane to actually accommodate them.
It has to be super huge. Forget, you know, our 12 by 12, multiply that by a couple hundred all around. It has to be even more. Even make grosses out of it and keep adding. No, it's huge. It's just
Yeah, the realm of existence is it's a lot bigger than we can all even imagine. It really is beyond comprehension, some of these things, you know. You know, you go so far, and sometimes you just can't wrap your head around certain things. Like this, for instance, like, you know, like when you take into account, like, okay, we had these specimens, you know, roaming this realm of existence. Well, how big is this place? You know, if they're making up our land masses, I mean, it's just mind blowing. You know what I mean?
It is mind blowing because, like I say, I'm pretty sure there were things that had wingspans of a couple of 1,000 miles and more. You know, there were things that, you know, maybe like we take a couple of guys to pick up a few sheets of gyprock, okay? Maybe it took a couple of giants to pick up one of those 1,500-mile sheets of steel and carry it to place, put it where it belonged.
Yeah, like you were talking about the Greenland bar.
Yeah. And you know, there's one obelisk, the one that's still in the ground over at that quarry, I guess in Karnak or wherever it is there. It's supposed to be the longest one, and the reason they didn't use it because it cracked or something there, eh? You seen that obelisk, eh?
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Okay. Now, if you look at the top of that obelisk, there's a bunch of little holes kind of randomly scattered all through it. Those little holes are actually for tendons. You're looking at a piece of muscle that's petrified. It's part of a giant's muscle. That's all it is. It was probably cut from wet flesh, like a lot of these things. I don't know. But that's what it's looking like.
I'm just kind of speechless at the amount you've actually shown us, Jim.
Really?
A lot of homework. Yeah, I didn't realize there was that many. That blew me away completely.
Yeah. Well, I'm certainly disappointed, but not surprised by Google Earth. And like I say, I've tried to, you know, geolocate some of these very things with the coordinates on, you know, trying to match them up to, you know, what Google shows, and they hide everything. These people are beyond reprehensible. I mean, I don't know what world they're showing us, but it certainly ain't ours.
Yeah.
And you know, there are some places, because now, you know, I have a better idea of what I'm looking for. It's so evident when they put some, you know, Photoshop and smear out a place and, you know, try to hide what's under the water, etc. Like I say, we know now there's more Nazca lines in and around Kamloops, BC, or Kootenay, along the shores and around the Kootenay Lake. Well, I mean, try to find them on Google Earth.
Yeah. I mean, I was looking to pull out the last lines of graph pulled over. I think you keep having to switch between various dates that the photographs were recorded on to get a better detail.
Yeah,
But, you know, it further proves, you know, like I was saying, and others, Nazca lines can only have been put there by giants on that scale and with that detail, and clearly were educated and knowledgeable. You know, I mean, the Great Tower of the West,
different plateaus, they have to be giants.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I was telling tops of the mountains were split, you know, taken flattened basically. You know, that Great Tower of the West, 5-mile geoglyph of an antenna.
Yeah, some are in 7 miles and stuff, you know, so just for
insane.
It is insane, yeah. And
Yeah,
again, that Paracas family,
yeah,
their symbols and their basically trademark is all over Kootenay Lake. It's there, the spiral symbol for the angel below, powerful ones and stuff. It's all there. And it's another
more
place.
geoglyphs.
Done a good job trying to hide it, but they're coming out, you know, little by little.
Yeah, you can't deny them. They're out there everywhere.
Yeah. I wanted to ask, one, are you still available?
Yeah, I'm here.
Hey, what's your take on some of the stuff that James has been showing us? What do you think about the Titans and the various sizes of humans or humanoids? Or
Oh man, I've been looking at these shapes very quietly, so he made me really feel not crazy, and his pictures are amazing, and you did a lot of work on that, James. Very good job. I think they're real. I think they existed. The ancient texts tell us so. I think there was some kind of a war, and now their bodies are all over the place, you know, petrified for however they got petrified.
Yep. Yeah, I'm thinking more or less the same thing as well. There was a battle here, and it looks like things got out of control, and maybe God just put a stop to it all, and it just shut the whole system down, and everything just densified on the spot. Perhaps, I don't know. We could only speculate about how that actually happened, but it was instant. And I'm thinking like removal of the electromagnetic energy, if you will, from
Or
this
turning on
ether,
the grids and frying what was above the waters, you know?
or that. Yeah, either
Yeah,
way, and that,
that's what I was thinking.
You know, I think that it may have been flooded to a certain level and then the rest zapped, kind of, or I don't know. I don't know the
yeah,
process,
yeah.
but the both were used apparently, the petrifying and the
Well, you've got the
flooding and
halos above, and water below. You know, just raise that level a bit, and you're going to get arcing.
oh yeah. Well, they were all. Some of them seemed to be looking up, like they were seeing something almost euphoric, almost something surprising, something they knew they shouldn't be seeing. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. It's hard to read because you're trying to read the expression off someone who is probably going through either amazement, bewilderment, or different, things at the same time.
Someone likes making dams and playing with water as well, don't they? Oceans seem to be receding strangely as of late.
Well, it seemed to be easy to flood the Mediterranean because all that was needed was around the Rock of Gibraltar. There was a land barrier between the Atlantic and that low-lying area. And that got severed. That got removed. That flooded the whole Mediterranean. That was certainly part of the Great Flood.
Or was that a previous globalist agenda hitting the reset button?
Yeah, I don't know.
We'll never know, You'll never know. Whatever it was sudden. It raises a lot of questions, that. Thoughts in them postures. They didn't see it coming. They clearly didn't see it coming.
Yeah, one thing I really believe, if we get too big for our britches, it's going to be a problem. Not for the creator, but for us. Because, I mean, like I say, we can see how fast he really can change things. So, believe me, if it does come to that, I don't think we'll see it coming. But I don't think, like I say, I've said it before, I don't think he created everything just to destroy it. I mean, the reason things happen in the ways they do, it's not going to be perfect. There is a lot of suffering, but I mean,
Well, James,
people trying to
do you
change that.
think it's all by design, that one day we all may be densified one day and it'll just switch over?
Pardon me?
I'm saying, do you think that this is all by design? That what happened to these titans and these Jurassic animals that were here? Do you think them being densified and turning into stone, basically, you think that's by design and that it's going to end and we'll go through that cycle as well? And
No,
then
the thing about learning is to break cycles and to move forward. No, I don't think the intent would be to just keep repeating a cycle or that type of thing as a pattern. That really wouldn't.
what happened? What I'm saying is, do you think that was by design? Is what I'm saying.
Oh, absolutely. Oh, this is a controlled environment, and these machines are elaborate, and I'm sure they can do, and there are controls. For a system like this, there's got to be extra water that you can flood this place in. I mean, it's like an aquarium. I don't know. There's all kinds of like contingencies, I'm sure, and potentials that these things
I was
can
just
work
asking you
with.
to speculate on what you thought about that. I think that that it was by design and that will happen again. That's what I'm thinking.
I think it could, but it doesn't necessarily have to. And that's partly why each day rolls into the next. It's part of the intent is to allow us to live and grow, learn, change things. You know, if like I say, there's probably only a few things that would, you know, bring a kind of final judgment, and one of them is kind of like, I really believe it, the abomination of mixing humans with animals and stuff and making a cross of some kind, crossbreeds and stuff. That's horrible stuff, you know. Like I say, for myself, the way I see it, we were made in God's image, and if you want to really like piss off your creator, modify, you know, what he created in his own image. The rest you can probably live with, but change man to a half animal, some kind of beast, no. And a lot of what this world was kind of really messed up. Mutants,
Yeah, basically.
gods of all kinds of weirdness and shapes and forms, and not at all like, you know, God's image. I mean, apparently one of the stories is that these fallen angels who knew the secrets of how to make life and change life and do all these other things taught it to people, and they themselves were making these abominations and these hybrids and these things that, you know, I'm sure the creator never intended to have set foot on earth. But anyway, I don't think he's out to nail us all to the wall and petrify us all and stuff, you know. We do a good job of destroying ourselves already. You don't have to come in and help us. I guess he's leaving us the job of not destroying ourselves in his world. So you could do that anytime. That's just speculation. But yeah, we were in a world of giants. There's no escaping it. And again, it's a question of, you know, the dissonance. If you choose to believe these are all just natural rock formations and weathering and erosion and extrusions, and it's okay. But I kind of think that, you know, with this 100 or more photos plus another 1,000 or more I'm going to collect, it might really start looking like they really were. You know,
Yeah, you know, I think I've asked this question in another hangout before. I'm gonna ask it again. Maybe you have an answer for it this time. Do you think there's any kind of correlation to the Titans, where they're these mountain masses, if you will? Any correlation to the PowerPoints and some of the gridding and the halos below?
it's very possible, you know, that'll probably come out with other studying with, you know, one and with FEP, you know, and what they learned from how these things pull up on the ground, how, you know, quakes affect different stuff in different ways, you know. It's time will tell, and, you know, some more information gets exposed. It's hard to jump to conclusions because it really is at just the tip of the iceberg type of thing, you know. You know, seeing the planets over these well, angels or nodes and stuff threw me for another loop, because it just, you know, you're not expecting that, and you just like, it's almost like a brain freeze you go through. It's kind of like, whoops, okay, now that worked too easy, so there's got to be something wrong with it, you know, but there's not. But that's sort of like,
Right. There's definitely energy coming from below and possibly from above as well.
yeah.
Yeah.
Because I still live with a certain amount of like programmed in denial, or just, you know, if something is not something I can put in my hands and hammer with a nail and a anvil and stuff, sometimes conceptually it's harder for me to adopt or accept, you know, the relationships that aren't necessarily physically tangible that I can put my hands on. But there are relationships that aren't physically tangible that are very real too. I just have a harder time with them.
Well, you're a very concise person, so I mean, you're pretty spot on a lot of things that you've been presenting. What do you think about, you know, this construct? You know, going back to the construct and its design. and I was saying about power coming from above. Would it be also like a gridding above, or would it not be the same based on your knowledge?
My best guess, and it's only a guess, the same type of structure as a grid that exists below us, in all likelihood exists above us. There
Alrighty.
has to be a cap, a ceiling, a roof, or something. You know, and again, that term that everyone wants to use, dome, chuck it. It's as bad as pizza pie Earth, you know, and pizza pie maps and rings of ice talk. Dome is as bad. It's not the word. The word is rakia. It's not dome. It's a protection. You know, when you say rakia hufigi, it means, you know, I have a protection. It's the same word as for the firmament. It's rakia, protection. So I don't know how it became dome. Metal. Well, protection, a shield, brass, whatever. But not the word dome.
Is it possible that it's glass?
I doubt that. Wouldn't be practical.
I personally think it's... Go on, Jim.
Could be magnetic, but I mean, you know, if we're on a metal and gridded superstructure, well, I don't know. It's like, wouldn't necessarily be on a frame. So the frame continues. Like, say we're on the floor, we have our sky blue and stuff. That's contained within a parameter. Magnetics could be involved, definitely, you know, between layers and stuff. I mean, just like the magnetic emanations come from the ground to move the sun around. From above, magnetic emanations could come down to, you know, do whatever from above. I personally think there is a more grid or floor or ceiling or whatever above us, but I mean, it could just be electrical and angel design. I don't know. I really don't know. We call it the Van Allen belt and stuff. Totally magnetic, totally you know, electrostatic, and so it could very well be just
like a torsion field or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or it could be a little of both. It could have
any of those things are possible.
Protection and
there's definitely something separating everything from us from above. So I'm sure NASA knows. I'm sure they got the real answer, but they're going to deceive everybody and tell everybody else that space is real. And, you know, we got probes out there and whatnot.
Yeah, some of their knowledge might be limited too, just like we're trying to figure out some stuff and might run into, you know, a limit to what we can know. Maybe they're there.
Yeah, that's possible. I mean, Operation Fishbowl was something I remember going through a few years back with them trying to penetrate the dome with nuclear bombs. But now that I know nukes are basically fake, as far as the magnitude they're suggesting that they are, I don't know. You know, like maybe they were trying to penetrate the dome.
All they're doing is a long exercise and empowering people, making them feel intelligent by developing new verbose lexicons of nonsensical terms that they adopt as fact, whether it's for astrophysics or for physics on the ground with zeol, plutonium, quarrel, cyclotrons. You know, oh really? You got one? Yeah, got two. I mean, it's just babble. So
gotcha.
What more they know.
What were you going to say, F?
Yeah, well, you know, we do know there's layers of various halos up there now. You know, they exist. You cannot deny them. They call them sundogs. We know the electromagnetic projections from what we call angel technology. Add multiple layers of those guys, and you're going to get that watery, shimmery effect. I think that's what's responsible for that effect in the sky. So it looks like we're looking at water in the background.
Yeah, that's very likely. It's magneto waves that are interfering with the direct path of the light.
the moon wave that people's been noticing,
Plasma.
that wave on the moon, that could actually be when the moon's going across the face, like one side of a halo. We might be seeing like the effect of the halo going across it, one side of the halo as it's moving across the moon. You understand what I mean?
Yeah.
As the moon's going past one, it's in the foreground, and it's being captured moving across it.
That would explain the one eclipse I saw down south that the moon turned into like a boiling silver ball. It looked like it was just boiling liquid metal. It's amazing. But like the moon wave, it's moving through these magnetic fields, and that's what caused the aberration.
Yep. I'm glad you just mentioned the eclipse, because that was something I wanted to talk to One about. Pull One back in here. One, remember we were talking about the other solar eclipse that happened, and that wasn't reported. It wasn't a big deal in the media. Do you want to just talk about that a little bit more? I mean, this is before we even came on today, but if you just want to get into that a little bit.
Yeah, we were lining these things up on the new map with the well, not the new map, I'm sorry. We were lining the planets up because I went to a website and we pulled the geocentric model and we just laid the planets out, and the sun and the moon on the date we found were they were laying on that one plate. Do you have that? Did we map that FPV, or did we just showed it? We looked it up and stuff. We didn't map it, did we?
I kind of did it on the fly, to be honest. I mean, if you can do that now, that'd be great to show people what we were talking about, because I found that pretty intriguing, you know?
What were you looking for again?
Remember when we did we map? We didn't map whenever we were talking about that New Zealand eclipse, did we? Can you put back up that map of the planets, though?
Yeah, hold on a sec.
I think it was on February 16th.
Yes.
And I remember saying that is like, isn't it ironic how that was the day of the Florida shooting? Some sort of sun worship, if you will. I just feel like there's got to be some sort of correlation to that event and maybe other things that have happened, because they do communicate without speaking. So even the term, stone man, and just there's just a lot of things that the more being red pill, it just you see all this stuff. So I mean, right now my words are failing me, but I think you guys know what I'm talking about. It's I don't think it's a coincidence, is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
This image one, yeah.
Yeah, that would work. If you could just move your mouse where we were showing. Do you remember that conversation with the sun and the moon? And so they were lined up right around here, around New Zealand. And that was when the eclipse happened, and we didn't realize we were even looking at that day. We were just looking at how they were laying out. And then, yeah, it was the day that shooting happened. And it was just a weird thing that happened over New Zealand that didn't get a lot of coverage or anything, I think. Right?
Right. It got in the community, nobody talked about that. And New Zealand seems to be an area that has a lot of active earthquakes. Wasn't that the area that rose 6 feet, an area of it? Or
yeah, when they got that big quake, it rose 6 feet with that one quake. I think that was 2016.
yeah, I think it was the last couple years. Yeah, I think it was something like that.
Yeah, but anyway, this is just really one more thing that when we're straightening it out, we're finding that it fits fine in the 12 by 12, our world, and it probably is affecting many more things that we don't even know about.
Yeah, it's making the universe just got a bit smaller, didn't it?
Yeah, there is a side note. I posted a link. I don't have it right now, but it was from the BBC, a report on these special banknotes that they have in Scotland. And the banknotes have giants on the $1 million banknote and Titans on the $100 million banknotes, I think it was. So they're a secret form of currency that, you know, their money, if you had one, it'd be, you know, a giant would be worth £1 million to you. And if you had the Titan, it'd be worth 100 million pounds to you. So at the top, I think they know about giants and Titans. That's just, you know, again, part of their secret level of currency and stuff, you know. I guess it's easier to count off a million and 100 million at a time than a bunch of hundreds into thousands and into millions. But again, it's monopoly money, but it's real. These two banknotes are called the Giants and the Titans, and that's their value and their real currency. So just saying.
Hey guys, I've got to jump out for 20 minutes. I'll be back in 20 minutes though. So see you soon.
Yep.
Drive safe.
Yep. James, you were talking about just like the wordplay and the use and the using it for currency. Is that what you mean?
Well, normally our bills go up to, I don't even think they produce $1,000 bills anymore in Canada, but they used to, and that was about the upper level of a bill that you could get. You know, stacks of it add up. You need pallets for it. It's
right.
You know, if you have $1 million or £1 million banknote instead of a knapsack full of money, you have one bill. You know, instead of having like 10 hundreds for 1,000, you have one $1,000 bill. You know, it's real currency.
Yeah, but I heard you say something about, you called it something about giants and then something about Titan bills.
Well, they're named the Giants.
Okay.
And they have Giants printed on them for 1 million lira or 1 million, British money, whatever it is there. And the Titans are worth $100 million, if I'm not mistaken. It's real money. They have Titans printed on them and Giants printed on them. They're not for the public.
Yeah, I've never seen one in my life. Anybody out there ever seen one? I'm sure there's a couple that's seen it, but
I did. They didn't even post a photo of them. They're kind of secret, you know.
Oh, really?
Well, yeah. Let me see if I can find it real quick.
It's all news to me, brother. So I don't know.
Yeah.
Okay, I thought 1,000 was the biggest. I didn't know they printed $1 million bill.
Yeah.
I always thought 1,000 was the biggest, or 50,000 or something. What was it? I think it was something like that.
Okay. I'll paste the link in both chats. Copy. Here it is in this one. This is not the same article, but it's the same subject, so it should do fine.
Right. Sorry about that. One, thanks again for that, and for reflecting on that again, because that's a good little find, and I felt like we needed to share it with everybody else.
Yeah, it was great. It was.
Yeah. I didn't even write that down. That was something I remembered. So don't ask how that came out, but anyhow. James, is that something you could post and we can all see on this on the watch page, or?
It's BBC, so I just posted the link in the back chat and in the regular chat. BBC are fast on copyright strikes and everything, so we won't show nothing from them, just to be safe. You know, save having to fish through for a segment of film and clip it out or do whatever and get all those, oh, you violated copyright notices.
And they're helping on geocentric folks.
Yeah.
So.
Better safe than sorry. Like I say, I can post a link. I don't want to show nothing that, you know, even with disclaimer, they'll still tag you with a freaking copyright. BBC and a lot of them are like rabid dogs for that. So just leave them alone, you know. just let people go if they want to check it out. That's an article on, these banknotes. And they're secret, we're not supposed to know too much about them. What can you do?
FPV, I was going to
He's
ask.
gone for about 10 minutes or more to pick up his
Darn it,
brother.
that's right. My bad. I was going to have him go over some of the geoglyphs again.
He will answer, but there may be a long period of silence.
Hey, James. In chats, they're saying the link doesn't work.
Oh, let me try to find another.
Okay. Thanks.
Cats.
Yeah?
What do cats think?
What do I think about the Giants and all that? I believe it. I think the way of their faces looking, at up or whatever, it seems like they knew that the flood. I believe that the flood came at that moment. It's like, just for example, well, no, that's what I believe. I really do believe that they saw what was coming, when the waters came, the flood. That's why they had the other ones living on Earth after that. I mean, I believe it.
What do you think of the luminaries and them playing a role in this construct?
Gosh.
keep it simple.
I don't know. Honestly, I don't
know. What do you think as far as, these things, they're above us and they're definitely doing something down here and they have their own frequencies and they're triggering things.
Yes, I do believe that.
What do you think? Isn't it fascinating?
Yeah, it is, because like I said, all this is new for me, but I really believe there is a, connection, like you said, up above. And I agree. I mean, to me, it's all new. Like,
Well, yeah, it's something she just started going into as far as the luminaries above us and the wandering stars, actually, the planets. Yeah. And there's definitely something going on up there. So I think it's pretty cool. It's just something to add.
Wouldn't be like almost like there's like thunder up there. Huh?
I was saying, once plate is so full, she just keeps adding more stuff to her research. Volcanoes, she's doing earthquakes, ley lines and weather patterns, and now the luminaries. Yeah. Good job, one. Yeah. Good contribution to the team.
Very true.
God, she's on point, huh? She's killing it.
Thanks, one. And FPV, of course, and James and Totter. Nice. I mean, we're all in it. But one, I applaud you, girl.
But we all got to do our part, bring out the truth.
I agree very much.
So are we waiting for FPV to come out? Because I did want him to go over a couple of things, but he's going to be gone for a while. What do you guys want to do? Or
we can, whatever you want to do, Totter. I mean, he will be back in 30 minutes. So if you have questions, you lead the way.
Well, I don't have the chat open, so if there's anybody in chat, just put in there and Cats will relay it to either one of us up here.
So if anybody has questions.
Yeah, on the presentation for tonight.
Okay. Mainly, some of them were already answered earlier. I think right one. I'm not sure. I saw some replies back.
Yeah, I mean, I was trying to answer people's questions in chat, but
let me see. There's no questions. You can continue if you like.
All right. Well, James, going back to the going back to your Titans, have you looked at anybody else's research other than mud fossils? Anybody else that any other
Yeah,
sources that
there's
you're
one, I
looking
think she's in England or Scotland.
at? Hmm.
It's a lady, and she does. Let me see if I can't find the name of her site real quick.
Yeah, if you guys can just put some of these links out for some of the people in chat or whoever, they can go check them out. I mean, everybody knows Roger from Mud Fossils pretty much in the flat Earth community. I don't know why Roger's not a geocentrist yet, but he's still somewhat of a globe head, it looks like. But all good, you know. I'm sure he'll come around one day. Maybe, who knows? You know, I'm just gonna leave it at that. Roger, we like your work, though. All right, keep it up.
I'm going to mute for a second and find a few links. That way I can focus. Give me a sec. I'll find her and another one to use.
Okay, awesome. Yeah. Well, you know,
I put the link for the planets in the chat.
Okay.
And if they go to it down, if they scroll down a bit, there's a geocentric model. I mean, anybody can go and watch these every day and look at the other stuff that goes on in the world. You know what I mean?
Yep. Awesome.
Yep.
Yeah, I was saying, yeah, none of us would be here right now if none of us were lied to, or if our parents weren't lied to, or their parents weren't lied to, and all the generations before them. We wouldn't be here trying to, you know, figure all this out right now. This would already be done, and we'd all be learning the truth. But obviously, that's not the case. So, you know, here we are, you guys. So this is just bringing everybody together to, you know, make sense of all this. I've said this before. So, you guys, thanks a lot for that. It's been great. It's been a great experience for the whole community and just being around everybody that's flat Earth or red pilled. And for the non-red pillars, you'll get there. Shout out to Authentic Content. Brother, welcome back to the community. You've been killing it. I know a lot of people are following you and supporting you. Just great activism at its best, man. You know, just raw, you know, uncut, no editing, just getting flack from the people or getting good vibes from the people. You've had good results. Yeah, it's great to see you at work, man. I know a lot of us we're just happy for you, brother. It's good stuff. I know a lot of you guys follow Joshua over there at Authentic Content, and if you don't, you need to, because he's a wonderful guy. I had to give a shout out to my boy.
Yeah, Josh, really welcome back.
Totally off subject, but yeah, I mean, it's been great to see him. He's been very active, and yeah, he was on Jamie Brown's this morning. So before he went out to do his thing, and yeah, it's been great. So I'm following you, brother, and would like to have you on panel one of these days so we can have a nice conversation about a few different things. I know we need to talk about some stuff. So one of these days we'll have a night of, you know, Trotter and Josh, and we'll chat it up, brother. I know you're busy though right now, but it's all good.
So, hey, Juan, I have a question for you. The weather that's happening now over here in the West is terrible. It's hot. Does that have anything to connect what you've been talking about?
Where are you, Arizona?
Yeah. Yeah, unfortunately.
To tell you the truth, I've kind of not been paying as much attention to these earthquakes as I used to, but I can look. Oh.
I think this year in our summer, we're going to hit really high on our heat. I say over 115 this year.
Ooh, it gets that hot there.
Yeah. It can get up to 100. One time it got 100. 121. So if
Holy.
yeah, so say like if it's all humid, you're going over 130.
That's 120 air temperature. The ground temperature is about 10 degrees, 12 degrees hotter than that. Maybe even.
But yeah,
That's
but see,
wild.
I don't. It just yeah. But the thing is that with all this, look, all these chemtrails, it's been barbaric in our state, especially where I live. I mean, 24, and it's terrible, and it seems like it's hitting more where we are at, of course, than anything beyond this year because we didn't really have a winter. I said just a few colds here and there, but mostly it's all in the 80s, and then went down on the 70s and back to the 80s. So that because of
That
this,
your winter 70 degrees
it's gonna be hot.
for all of us that live in the cold. We're like, wait, what? 70? Are you kidding me?
You know what I see though. I'm looking at my little earthquake on my phone, and you're kind of boxed in. Like actually, you in the state next to you, what's that? New Mexico.
New Mexico,
You're boxed in by
New
all these earthquakes,
Mhm.
and it's all the pressure's coming up from the south. So I'd say that's why. I mean, seriously, because you're getting a lot of southern heat. You're very close to the equator,
too
also.
early.
And that's how Florida was when I was down there too. Everybody was saying this is unusually hot. That's what they kept saying. I mean, I wasn't from there, so I thought it was unusually hot anyway. Because where I come from, we have winter and it's cold. So, but yeah, that's what they were saying too.
It has to do with I don't know. It has a lot of things into it. This heat, but the chemtrails are very heavy here, and like I said, it's by the sun, of course. But it's just like heating more and more instead of cooling down. Like right now, it's late here for me, but it's not even cooled down yet. Still, I had to open my windows. That's how hot it was last night.
Wow.
So whatever's happening, we're feeling it in Arizona for sure. I mean, I don't know. It's hard to explain, but
all those plates are lit up right now, and that's what pushes the pressures, and you're boxed in. I mean, I'm telling. So that has a huge thing to do with it. You're getting all that southern heat getting pushed up on you. And it's releasing over in California. It's releasing in Texas. It's releasing in Oklahoma, and it's releasing in what is that? Not Kansas, but the one.
Missouri.
No, the other way. But anyway, the point is you're boxed in and you're getting all this southern heat. I mean, that's what it looks like to me. I'm not a weather guy though.
Yeah.
But
I'm just
learning the plates, and I'm learning how they work, and learning, what happens, and when the plates light up and do certain things, then it causes the winds to come up from the south, and you're so close, to being there.
Yeah, like we got this easterly going. It's the plate off the Atlantic, that Bermuda Triangle plate that runs north. It just gave us a storm that knocked out over 1 million people's electricity. Again, I can only repeat myself like a parrot, but that had the same shape as Hurricane Sandy. Hurricane Sandy formed a nice big, like comma, and then hung around with anyway, it looks identical. I mean, if you looked at both of them and they just sit there and do that job, it's that plate that got them held there. It causes the easterlies and a lot of this garbage. It was probably on when we had the ice storm in Montreal a few years back. Except we were getting the ice and the weather a little higher up. Now they got it Vermont and south. We're lucky. They're not. But it's the plates. Big effects.
How weird. All I know is that it's going to be hot this summer. Very hot. I can feel it already. And we're just barely in March. So our hottest months are July, August, and September. But I think it's going to hit us April or May. The heat.
Well, we had a lot of snow the other day, so
You're lucky.
out of the Northeast. We had a nor'easter. We might get another one, they say. So it all seems normal over here. I mean, it can be like this in March up here. So, you know, some years it's not, some years it is. Again, like we're talking about things switching on and off. So, you know, this year things are, you know, switching on and causing this fluxes of energy. And we're getting some cold. And I know it's gone all the way up to Canada too.
It has?
We've had not heavy snow, but mild and just wet snow for 3, 4, 5 days now.
Wow.
It's like winter's last hurrah. By March 17th, the St. Patrick's Day,
So
people will be wearing T-shirts here.
I have a weird question for you, Jimbo. So how they were, digging on Oak Island and they found that plate and they were taking a big piece of equipment and they were dropping it on it and it actually broke the teeth of their piece of equipment. And is that possible that would affect that plate? Or do you think the plate's way too big to even affect it doing something like that?
You know, these are big plates. Taking a little chip off probably wouldn't hurt one. I think it'd probably be very difficult to drill into them. They may be, case hardened steel in the middle. I don't know, have roller bearings to prevent drilling into them, whatever. There are different ways. Like, roller bearings, if you want to prevent people from drilling into a safe, they put bars, and inside the bars, there's a bearing so that if a drill hits it, it just spins and spins and don't allow the drill to go through and whatever. But, I don't know. I think it's people play games and stuff, and I think a lot of people know what these bars are, what's going on, and normally you need certain permission to dig and drill and doing all this. I can't drill in a backyard without going through 7 or 8 licenses and permits, and heck, you can't burn in your backyard without permits. These people are going to drain a swamp and try to core out a huge chunk of iron or something, figure out what it is. I don't know. I think it's insanity and people playing games, and it's about time it stopped. There's one thing to look for, treasures that pirates might have dumped there and other stuff, but it's just a huge piece of iron. It's not a pirate's treasure or nothing, it runs for miles in all directions. Maybe before you chip on it, try to figure out how big it is and what it is. And you might not even have the desire to chip on it thereafter.
Yeah, good answer.
I don't want to chip on them. I just want to find one and touch it and see it. Damn, that'd be enough. And I'll find one. There's probably somewhere nearby a piece of the plate exposed. I might have to go north a couple 100 miles to find it. But the fact is, in Gatineau, there was a lot of damage from one earthquake that happened there. And that usually indicates a plate juncture, boundary, other things like that. But again, I'm a couple 100+ feet above sea level, maybe 250 feet above sea level. If the plates are that low here, that means, well, anyway, going down under. But it's hard to say. Certainly in Greenland, the plates look about sea level. and Oak Island, not very deep underwater. So it's hard to speculate whether, you know, a lot of that installation was done at a particular level, so that most of these plates controlling the sun are, you know, basically at or near the surface, which they seem to be. And when I say at or near, even 400 feet down is nothing. You know, that's still near the surface. 400 feet of water doesn't seem to be a problem for these things. I don't know though, it's just huge. I played with magnets all my life, and, you know, have them stick together, and then you get bigger magnets, and, well, and when they pinch you, you usually get a blood blister from them. They're just that strong, you know. And that's just little magnets you can play with, you know. And these things are thousands of miles long and wide and hundreds of feet deep. And they're magnets. They're magnetized, you know.
Those nice pictures you showed, James.
Yeah, I tried to keep them to the ones that were as close to, you know, not too hard to see, you know, what's going on.
Mm.
For me, the real winner is the Dolphin Island there. That's just makes so little sense, you know. It's the perfect shape of a dolphin, you know. It's an island. 100 people could build homes on it. And the dolphins we see and swim with are, well, maybe some of them 8 feet long. Most of them are around 6 foot to 7 foot. An 8-foot dolphin would be a pretty big dolphin. They're about the size of people. But it's like that seahorse in the rock. That is one big seahorse. That's a 6-foot seahorse. That's a big seahorse. So things were big. Like
Yeah.
they found an 8-foot centipede not long ago. That's a big centipede.
When?
That's only a centipede. It's a bug. It's like that stone that looks like a cobra. If that was a cobra, and that stone is like, well, snakes have different proportions, right? But we've seen them standing up before. And
James, you're not presenting right now, just so you know.
No, I know.
Oh, okay. All right.
But when a snake like a cobra stands up and goes in its hissing mode there, most of its body is still on the ground, you know? So if we only see like maybe 1/5 of it or 1/4 of it in the air, and that's, you know, running 60 feet, you have to multiply it by 4. It's a 240-foot long snake that it was, you know? You know, it makes sense because in the museum in Charleston, they got a 40-foot petrified timber rattler. I thought that was big, you know. And apparently, from the time of 1943 or 44, one American military guy was flying over the Congo, and he took pictures of what people are pretty sure was a 300-foot long black snake that even tried to, you know, rise up and attack the helicopter. And that was in the 1940s. There's possibly still a 300-foot long snake in the Amazon. So I used to think that was, well, maybe propaganda again and stuff, you know, but no, if you look it up, you know, been a few years for that one, but there's images on Google of that pilot, that American. I think he was a captain or above captain, but he was flying and he noticed it once and went back with a camera and tried to take pictures of it and got some pictures of it. They're not great, but you do have something to compare the sizes to, which are these huge mounds that are termite mounds that are 40 and 50 feet tall. And the snake extends well beyond those termite mounds. It's 300 foot. So it's possible that there are still some giant things around today. You know, and it is huge, the Congo. You think that we know everything and have explored everywhere. Wow, you wouldn't believe how big and forested the jungle is in a lot of parts of the Congo. A lot of it's still unexplored, the Congo. Totally unexplored. Just too dense, too mountainous. Just there are other places are like that. They're just nearly impossible to explore. So,
Hmm.
but yeah, it'd be something anyone interested in it. There's pictures from the 1940s of a 300-foot long snake in the Congo.
Yeah,
I used to
that's
not believe it, but I mean now I different.
how about the cobra, the one that you, the mud fossil cobra that you had? It was
Yeah,
like 25 feet or God, maybe
that's
more.
in the
30 foot.
200-foot. There's a guy
What's
at the
two?
base of it. He's 6
Oh,
foot
was it? I didn't.
tall.
I could. I'm on my phone. It didn't look that massive, but it looked pretty big. Was it that big? Well, okay.
Yeah, it is
Shoot.
that big. You could fit at least 10 guys on his shoulders, if not more, to the top of that snake from the ground that was exposed. So that's got to be 70 feet above the guy. You could fit a 7-story building there, I'm sure. So, you know, it's that snake, if it was a snake, was over 200 feet long.
It's massive.
That is massive, yeah. And venomous, because I'm sure they had the same properties as today's smaller ones. There's no reason why their, you know, endochemistry would be any different. Scale, proportion, it's the only difference. I've said it before, everything has to follow a constant of proportionality. If things are out of proportion, they don't work. They can't work for long. Everything is based on proportionality.
Right on. Is one still around?
Yeah, I'm here.
Barely. Okay. Maybe going back a little bit in time here, but did you want to go over some of the quake and volcano data, or is that something that's just it's a little too late for that now? And next time, is that?
Can we do it next time?
Sure. All right. No problem.
Didn't you want to ask FPV stuff? I think he's back.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I'm back, guys. How's it going?
Oh, just in the nick of time. Yeah, I was going to ask you before, but they're like, "Well, he just left." I'm like, "I spaced out." But my question to you was, if you wanted to, would you like to go over the geoglyphs again on some of the new findings that you had?
On the recent ones, you want me to present some of those, yeah?
Yeah, if you just wanted to go over a couple of them.
Okay, hold on a sec. Yeah, sorry about that. Trying to find the right images. There you go, guys. The geoglyphs in the original first position that I actually placed them, and they're correlating perfectly with real world data that what they've got coming in. You can't dispute what's going on in these geoglyphs. They correlate with everything going on in our realm. They really do. On the last presentation, you'll notice we had more land out in the west, which would be the Great Tower of the West, the one where the 5 mile in length antenna was. But if you look on this image, I've got the solar clock, the Toomey, which is the ceremonial knife. You can see like a key there with the wave. And this looks like a rotating or revolving plate. Now, them three, they need to go over to that location because the Caracas family are part of what's over in the Great Tower of the West, so they need to go a lot further west. Several thousand miles west. I would have to try and measure it to see, because it's going outside of our known realm. But we'll, a rough guess, square on the grid's 3,100 miles. So I could probably plot it out and get some kind of a figure to see how far away it is from, say, Alaska. I'll show you that next time. But yeah, that shows you how far out they are, those part of the geoglyphs. Yeah, it's a lot wider, taller than we thought, north, south, east, west. But by the geoglyphs, which seem to be, they all turn up perfectly placement-wise. They weren't far off from the first overlay. But yeah, there is more to see, more geoglyphs. But I thought tonight I'll just sit back, because I want Jimbo and Mon to get to present their work as well. They're working just as hard as me in the background, if not harder. I keep getting questions off them, and I'm pretty sure I've got questions to ask those as well. But yeah, it was their night tonight, so big round of applause, I think, for these two special people. Because since they've been working on this, I've seen the change in them. The truth really does set you free, and with this work, you're going to feel it. We feel it. We know this is real. You can't dispute or debunk this. Try it if you want. Try and debunk our work. Have a go at it. So yeah, big shout out for all the guys involved in this. There is more involved in this. Series had a hand in it. Iron FE, P900 Sanders helping in the background, and plenty of other people out with the Sunspot group. I'll have to get them a mention one day on here and put some of their videos up as well. There's a lot to look through, and it's getting presentable order, guys. But tonight's their night, so I'm quite happy to sit back and let them enjoy it.
Yeah. FV, thank you for that quick presentation of the geoglyphs, their recent findings. Yeah, I mean, if anybody has any other questions, if not, we can shut this down. It's up to you guys.
Well done, guys. Proud of you.
Yeah, it's up to you guys. I'm good. I mean,
I'm fine. I mean, it's up to you all.
I'm good too. I'm about cottonmouth and dry and dehydrated, so I gotta get to some food and water and just humanize myself again.
Awesome. Well, everybody, thanks for coming and hanging out with us tonight and going through the presentation. And hopefully you guys learned something tonight. Cats, thank you for letting us do this on your channel once again. If it wasn't for your channel, we wouldn't be here. Would be at FPVs maybe.
No, thank you guys.
Like 5 people. No, I'm kidding. I'm just joking. FPV, I'm just busting your chops.
Hey.
6 views. No, I'm kidding. But
no, thank you all.
You know what's up, everybody. The community, you guys are solid. Joshua at Authentic Intent, thanks again, brother. Much love to you, brother. And thanks again to the whole panel.
Thanks everyone in the chat for being there.
Yeah, thanks guys. Panel and chat. Well done.
Yep, thank you.
Yeah, thanks everybody.
Thank you.
Thanks everyone.
Thanks for joining us today, this night or day. Thanks for supporting all of us here. Good night, everyone, or good morning.